Oh no. So this episode starts with showing the formations of the army. The Dothraki horde up front with the fire pit, then the artillery, and then the unsullied infantry. We'll get to this. The reason I say Dothraki horde is because it has been quoted multiple times as the Dothraki army being 100,000 riders at Dany's back. This visual shows perhaps 5,000. How do I know this? Well, despite being an avid Total War player,
the Game of Thrones wiki quotes the Dothraki army being at 10,000 men, leaving 90,000 left.
Where the fuck is the rest of them? Anyway, despite that poor visual representation, my fire waifu shows up and sets all the swords on fire, and Jorah just fucking yeets all his cavalry into the enemy. Okay, first of all, how do they know the dead are there to charge at? Or know they're even in front of this specific spot of Winterfell where they form up outside the walls? It's total silence and total darkness. Oh, they're coming from the north? What if the army under the cover of advanced darkness decide to just walk around and attack from a flank? I bet you'd feel pretty fucking silly then, wouldn't you? Committing all your men to one side of the castle, outside the gates, for it to be hit at an entirely different spot. Or even a total surround of Winterfell. Lord knows the army has the numbers to achieve this. Second of all, why waste all these good men? Did they expect this to actually work? Did they expect their not 100,000, actually 5,000 Dothraki to just win the day here? Because if not, this is a flat out case of David and Dan writing characters to be straight up incompetent. Jon knows the Night King can just raise the wights that died and the men that died to kill them. This isn't a fucking war of attrition, Jon. You can't just throw good men at them and hope to put a dent in their numbers to have a better defensible position later. What was the point of this? The Dothraki are a horde army that charges mindlessly. Of course they're going to die in one big charge at the end of this episode. Well, no, they aren't. They do shock and awe initial charges. But if you knew about the Dothraki versus the Unsullied back in the day, in the books, they charge and retreat, and they have renowned horse archers to harass the enemy to cover this retreat. But, that being besides the point, they have Jorah, Beric, Jon, Ed, Grey Worm, Tormund, and Jaime fucking Lannister commanding this operation. All battle-hardened, tried and tested commanders and leaders. And considering the Dothraki have never ridden boats or lived in snowy blizzard conditions, they are pretty fucking open to changing up their tactics for their precious Dragon Queen. Back on track to the episode, the Whites now charge headlong into the Unsullied, and what we see in the moment is the ice and fire equivalent of Spartans just fucking crumble. And here is another crucial problem with the directing. We don't know what the fuck is happening. You see Unsullied getting absolutely shat on, and then later on a heroic moment where they're holding. Purely dependent on the convenience of the script. This is poor visual storytelling. Another thing with the writing is how fucking bad this battle is. People on YouTube are constantly saying they hated the episode, but the battle was amazing though. How? How do you genuinely believe this? Are you lying to yourself? We've all mentioned the squandering of the Dothraki. But now we have the squandering of the Unsullied and infantry. Why are they in front of the fire pits? Why? Did absolutely no one think, hey, let's stand behind these pits, light them, and any one of them that try to get through are bottlenecked so we can easily stab them? No one? No one spoke up at all? Brilliant. Then, Firewife lights the fire trench at the last moment and halts the army. For about 2 minutes. Because 3 dudes fucking plank and this foils the entire premise of the fire pits. What the fuck are these trenches? Tens of thousands, supposedly hundreds of thousands, of men who were working tirelessly to prepare. No, I don't believe they didn't have enough time to prepare a bigger pit, considering their blacksmiths forged an entire dragonglass armory for this army. That would take weeks of preparation. Or is this yet another time inconsistency that D&D did not think about? What the fuck? Then, when Whites get over the wall... Oh, side note, fat fucking lot of good these dragonglass traps on the Merlons did. The shit becomes a mess. Characters are stuck, back against the wall, screaming, being eaten alive and overwhelmed. Then it cuts away, only to cut back at them in the same situation 15 minutes later. See, if you had competent fucking commanders, No, never mind that. If you had competent fucking storytelling, we could just have these commanders running up and down, commanding and relaying orders behind the infantry line that is holding, where occasionally they have to fight a few whites who get through to add a bit of tension to these characters' lives. Then some shit happens inside the buildings of Winterfell with Arya and the Crips, and I really don't care about any of this. I have no opinion one way or the other about the shit that happens inside here. I'm skipping this cat and mouse chase scene, except for one scene. Arya stabs the white in the face, and that saves her from being detected. Stabbing the white in the face saves her from the hive mind zombies that would know one of their own has fucking died. Okay. Meanwhile, Jon and Dany have been strafe running zombies, and now they're fighting with the Night King on Dragonback. Flying above the snowstorm the Night King made. Quite smart. He bursts out from hiding in the clouds and chases Dany, burning his blue flame, whatever the fuck that is, and in retaliation, Dany heroically flies upwards. No Dracarys. She doesn't Dracarys back. She doesn't fight in any way. She just runs away. Jon is... fuck knows. Eventually, he knocks into the Night King's dragon, and they have a tooth and claw fight. But again, if Jon was chasing, why didn't he spew fire on the Night King's dragon the same way the Night King is spewing fire at Dany's dragon? Is that because the white dragon would instantly die from dragon fire? Well, that just results in a fucking logical mess. Eventually, the white dragon dies and he's grounded. Dany engulfs the Night King in dragon fire, and he lives. This is important for later. Jon and the Night King are finally face to face. The Night King raises his arms to raise all the dead around him. This creates a genuinely tense scene of Jon trying to catch the dude before he's surrounded. But he fails, and he does become surrounded by hundreds if not thousands of whites. Now, the thing about Game of Thrones is nobody is an impossible superhero. No one man can just solo 50 men plus. Fuck, the best swordsman in the history of this entire world got overwhelmed because he went up against more men than him. So Jon here is totally it cuts to black. It cuts to fucking black. And the next time we see him, he just gets out of it. How? Fucking how? This writing and direction is some of the laziest, idiotic, and downright amateur I have ever seen in such a big budget, supposedly highly acclaimed piece of entertainment media. And we're not even halfway through. Dany eventually saves Jon by blasting some whites and lands. She fucking lands her A-10 Warthog in the middle of hostile territory. Inevitably, it gets a fuck ton of whites on it, stabbing the fuck out of it. I didn't know basic shitty wildling iron knives can penetrate dragon scales and dragon hide, but okay. But Drogon survives, so maybe it doesn't penetrate. You know it's stabbing the dragon because it makes very clear stabbing noises, so don't make up bullshit excuses. Jon has run off, trying to get Bran, who's been doing fuck all except crowbagging it. Everyone keeps claiming he's the most powerful character in all of Westeros. Is he though? He knows a lot for sure, but he does absolutely nothing with this knowledge. Cannot weaponize anything for shit, and he actively withholds this knowledge from everyone arbitrarily, like some bratty child who wants something in return first, but won't tell you what that is. I say maybe Bran hit his head and got fucking brain damage, but clearly this isn't the answer, as seen by Arya taking a crack to the noggin, but still soldiering on. So your guess is as good as mine as to why he's a cunt in this series, but remember, what you say is a total ad hoc. Just because you can mental backflip and make up your own headcanon does not make it actual canon in this series. Back to the series. Jon passes all his mates who are pinned down and are on the cusp of dying. They've been on the cusp of dying for about 20 minutes now, and then eventually he gets pinned down by a dragon. Despite this dragon fire obliterating Winterfell earlier, and the boulder he's hiding behind, whatever. The Night King arrives for Bran, all grandiose, with his densely packed army surrounding the area, and his White Walker other buddies standing behind him. He smacks Cockless down and is about to kill Bran when Arya fucking Omaiwamu Shindaru's in. The Night King is fast enough to react to this, spin on his heel, and catch her all in one motion. She drops the dagger to catch it in the other hand. Oh, what a callback! And the Night King is not fast enough to A. snap her neck, B. throw her into the whites to be eaten, C. do fucking anything. Also, How can Arya survive being held by the neck by the fucking Night King? Remember, just being around these dudes makes it hard to breathe from how goddamn cold they are. Physical skin-to-skin touching should cause a shock that renders her passed out or dead. All these things I said totally invalidate her stupid ninja training. Don't even try to bring that up as an argument. It's not relevant to what I've said now. And the Night King's dead. That's all, folks. Everyone else phantom menaces / Avenger dies in such a generic paint-by-the-numbers way. I personally want to fly over, go visit George R.R. Martin's home and ask him, dude, what the fuck happened? Why did you allow these two hack cunts to carry on writing your series? The problem with the Night King being a Frankenstein's monster / weapon gone on the fritz who decides kill all humans out of control is that it directly contradicts what's in the show, let alone the books. We saw Craster's Keep. We saw the babies being taken by General White Walkers and turned into White Walkers by the Night King. Why? What's his motivation for that? Because as we see, the White Walker generals are little more than glorified whites. They have no autonomy, and they die when he dies. Fucking okay, why bother with that effort? Not to mention, if his motivation is pure angsty, I want to kill all life, how did Craster possibly manage to form a deal with him without being fucking slaughtered where he stands? What about the symbols? People say, oh, the spiral was there when he was made, and he uses them as a sick irony. Yeah, in the later seasons, it's the one universal spiral symbol, yes. But in earlier seasons, when George was at the helm, they had other symbols, like a diamond-shaped one. No meaning behind them, just for shits and giggles? Okay. Then, there's the case of him getting past the wall. Why did he wait thousands of years? For the dragons to come and burn the wall down? Well, before I get to that, there's no reason for him not to just head to each individual wildling village and use the storm he uses in Hardhome to gather his army thousands of years earlier. Again, his one-dimensional motivation was death, was it not? Now, in regards to him needing the dragons to pass the wall, he did not. We saw when Mance Rayder attacked the wall, giants could breach the gates. There is no indication of magical wards or spells that stop impending invaders. Even the dead can get inside as shown in earlier seasons. So we've established that it was literally just a physical barrier in the show, not a magical / metaphysical one. The dragon just made it really easy, but the undead giants would have also made it extremely easy. What's that you say? No, you might not see it or get visually shown, outright ignoring both sides of the show don't tell rule, but zombie dragonfire is the only thing to get him past the wall. Oddly a specific thing for him to get past the wall with, but let's roll with that. My answer is simple. Why did Jon get raised back? To what purpose would the fire god R'hllor have in raising Jon? He never fights, nor defeats the Night King. Is this to unite the North in defense against the Night King? Jon is the reason the North have to fight him. If Jon stayed dead, he wouldn't have met Dany. If he didn't meet Dany, Dany wouldn't go north. If Dany doesn't go north and hand the Night King a dragon on a silver fucking platter to bring the wall down, all is okay. So, if the Lord of Light just left him dead, the Night King could have 1,000,000 whites, but he'd still be stuck there, shaking his fist, grumbling, "You fucking humans." Everyone else would be safe and sound. But Nazma, who says the Lord of Light is even real? Maybe it's generic magic that come about with the birth of dragons. I say it's fucking real. The show heavily insists that the Lord of Light is real, in that he resurrects key characters that are involved in the defense of the Long Night. If it was random magic as a result of the birth of the dragons, hundreds of people in Essos would just be Jesus-ing back due to the sheer amount of red priests that are just cutting about up there. In conclusion, this episode completely mishandled a series that has been building up for 8 years. I've had to address as much as I can to be comprehensive and systematic in its takedown, and the terrible fanboy defences, because this indeed is the last Jedi levels of plot holes, plot contrivances, and law breaking and flat out objectively bad writing and directing, and with the directors and writers defending this absolute travesty of an episode. I do not want to watch the last 3 episodes. I no longer care how it ends. I detest the sheer lack of integrity these people have. They have the budget, the crew, the effects, and great actors, and I love Maisie Williams' acting ability and don't knock her for the card she's dealt, but to have such potential and throw it over your shoulder so flippantly? Fuck 'em.